Today we're doing 4-3 multiplying polynomials. This is a polynomial. It's actually a binomial, but polynomials is like the main term for binomials, trinomials, and things like that. A binomial basically means that it has two terms. The trinomial would have three, and a polynomial covers any of those kind of expressions. If you remember, if you're multiplying two binomials together, you use what's called FOIL. And FOIL is a method to help multiply two binomials together. So the way it works is you have the first that you multiply together, which obviously I wrote first, the outside, the inside, and the last two. Some of you recognize this as a face, and so you drew the face back in the day, and these were like the ears. I think it kind of looks like a Stewie face, if you know who that is. So, however it works for you to memorize, to multiply it is fine. Just make sure that you are multiplying the first, and then eventually the outside, the inside, and the last. Doesn't matter what order you go in. So I'm going to multiply 2a times 3a. And 2 times 3 is 6, and a times a is a squared. Then I'm going to multiply the outside. I have 2 times 5 is 10. A times b is ab. Then I have the inside here, which is 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. A times b is ab. And the last is 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. And b times b is b squared. So if you look, you got to see to make sure you have, see if you have any like terms, and this is like chapter 4:1, so make sure you understand how to add and subtract. So we're going to have 6a squared, and 10ab minus 3ab is going to be 7ab minus 5b squared. And now this is fully simplified in descending order. So that is the answer for the first one. Let's do a b. Let's do b here. 4k minus 5, the whole thing squared. Now, if you remember in the last lesson, I told you that you are not allowed to distribute the 2 to both parts if there's an addition or subtraction sign here. So, that being said, how do you do it? Well, you have to write it twice. That's what that means. If it was a 3, you could write it 3 times. So again, whenever it's squared, you have to write it twice, and then you go ahead and FOIL it. So I'd have the first, so 4k times 4k is 16k squared. Outside, 4k times negative 5 is negative 20k. Then you'd have the inside. Negative 5 times 4k is negative 20k. And the last is negative 5 times negative 5, which is 25. So if you notice, you have some like terms. So I'm going to have 16k squared minus 40k, because when you add those together, you get negative 40k, plus 25, and this is your final answer for B. I'm only going to do 2 more examples, and I think you'll have the hang of it, so short notes tonight. 2x plus 3 times x squared plus 4x minus 5. So you have a binomial, and then you have a trinomial because there's 3 terms. So when you do a binomial times a trinomial, it's a lot like distributing. You have to distribute that 2 to each part, and then you have to distribute that 3 to each part. So let's go ahead and do that. 2x times x squared is 2x to the third, because you add your exponents. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2x times 4x, well, 2 times 4 is 8, and x times x is x squared. Then you have 2x times negative 5, which is negative 10x. distribute that 3. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times 4x is 12x. And 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. So if you notice, I kind of lined up my variables here that are common so that I could easily combine them. I don't have anything to combine with 2x to the third, but I know that 8 plus 3 is 11x squared, and negative 10 plus 12 is positive 2x minus 15. I have it in descending order. I can't combine anything else, so this is my answer. Example number 3. I have x squared, and then I have an x minus 3x plus 3. Whenever you see something like this, you always want to FOIL it first, and then you can distribute the x squared. So you have first times first, so x squared. Outside is 3x, inside is negative 3x, and last is negative 9. If you notice, those are going to go away, and you just have x squared minus 9. So whenever you see that they're exactly the same but different signs, you know that the insides are going to fall out. So all you have to do is multiply the outside number, the first number and the last number, because the outside and the inside will fall out. So again, you only have to multiply the first one and the last one if they're exactly the same but different signs. So now I have x squared minus 9, but I still have my x squared. So I have to now distribute that to each part. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times negative 9 is negative 9x squared. And this is my final answer.